Okay, thank you for joining us. Welcome to our team and all our visitors to the work session for the Marion City Council for Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. Our first item on the agenda this evening is a presentation, the annual presentation from our friends at the Marion Public Library. So we'll have our library director and president of the library board take it away.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. The library is here to do a presentation of its fiscal year 25 annual report for you all. Before we begin, I'd like to also thank all of you in addition to the library board members and staff members that are here this evening in support of the library. So we have Susan, Becky, Kelsey, Bob, Nancy, and Bob. So with no further ado, I will turn it over to Ross McIntyre, the library board president. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time and attention, both at this moment and throughout the year of continuing to make Marion a wonderful city and a place to live in. This year, hold on. I'm sorry, just one second. To know how this, oh, that button. Okay. This year, one of the things I'm most pleased and excited about is that we have been able to implement our award-winning strategic plan, and with the four basic areas of ensure equitable access to resources, enhance community engagement, evaluate the library infrastructure and funding, and elevate the internal and external customer experience. And I say implement, but actually draw guidance and inspiration from the strategic plan. So this fiscal year has been 12 months of the library reaching higher and being what Marion needs a library to be. So let's take a look. By the numbers, over 180,000 visits from school children, seniors, professionals, students, families, bicyclists just passing through. And this number has increased every year that we've been at this location. Over 3,700 library card signups, and that's well over 10 per day of the year, not days that the library is open, just days of the year. And that's about 9% of Marion's population right now. And new library cards continues to be a focus as mentioned in our strategic plan. And the library card signups not only allow people to engage our services and programs through the library, but also connect as a civic center. And this all serves in service of the point of enhancing community engagement, which is point 2 of our overall strategic plan. 377,000 physical items circulated. And of course, this is, very central statistic each year and reflects both the patrons' access to a variety of things and their appreciation of the variety of resources available. And that says a lot. That's kind of the central thing. All right, program attendees. So over 73,000 this year. And again, compared just to the population of Marion, that's remarkable. Compared to last year, fiscal year, the library welcomed 11,808 more program attendees this year. And I believe this growth reflects 3 things. One is the very strong demand in the community for programming. Also, the library's ability to rise to meet that demand, and an appreciation of the customer service experience that the library staff is able to provide. And then study rooms. Study rooms are popular for local high schoolers, college, university students, remote workers, or just people who need a quiet hour, of quiet place to focus and be able to study or read or things. And people really value the variety of meeting spaces there at the library. Okay, new at the library this fiscal year. So the adult book fair, last fall, the library hosted an adult book fair with over 750 people came that night. I mean, they were backed up out the door, around the corner outside. People loved it. The same idea as a school book fair. And we, meaning the Friends of the Library and then the foundation board, partnered with the staff of the library and some local businesses, local bookstores and stuff. And then 10% of the sales went to the library. And we'll be doing that again in the future. Also new at the library, the bookmobile. So we're closing in on the first full year of service. And this is referring to the calendar year, not the fiscal year. And the bookmobile has gotten a lot of positive feedback from people. And the staff have reported gratitude and appreciation from kids, elderly, parents, just about having the ability to have the bookmobile visit them. And this supports our strategic plan commitment to ensure equitable access to the resources. Also new at the library, the book club kits. So you can see a display of one of them here on the cart here in front of you. So we were able to update about 10 new kits this year, and it reflects new popular titles, as the trends change and things, just trying to keep up to date with that. And let's see, notes. Yes, keeping up with the current trends and interests of the community. Again, this is one of the things that's outlined and inspired by our strategic plan to enhance the community engagement. The book club kits are very popular. If the city council wants to start a book club, this is the place to come. All right. More new stuff at the library. Okay, where would we be without volunteers? We were able to revisit library volunteer needs since moving into the new facility and reevaluate, create some new positions based on the needs that were there. We hosted a volunteer fair this spring, I think in May, and just a bunch of new opportunities and lots of engagement there. A good ratio of volunteer opportunities in the library not only helps the library to function, but provides a connection to the community in a positive and inclusive way. And that's a layer that the average patron maybe doesn't see when they go in to check out a book or a physical item, that they don't see underneath how different people are able to be involved in different ways to make that happen. All right. And then my new favorite word is Wazoodle. So this is a new addition to the library's youth collection, as you see. It's a screenless audio learning device that engages children through stories, activities, games, and more. No Wi-Fi required. It can be used anywhere, including in City Hall. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration for you. If I can remember how this works. All right, so we turn it on.
Hey, I'm Wazoodle. Let's start in explore mode.
And then we're not going to go through the whole menu, so I'm just push a button here.
To explore with podcasts, music, stories, and more. Away we go.
And away we go, because I'm going to turn it off, but just wait for the end.
Oh, cool. Let's hang out again soon. Just turn on the speaker and follow my voice. Zoodle doo.
There you go, zoodle doo. So there's new stuff at the library. And that's in the youth collection, but not just the youth that get a kick out of it.
Hey, Gage, that's for you.
Wow,
I can't leave this behind.
new toy.
Yeah.
Yeah. for
Okay.
us, Yeah.
Right, library financial. So this is the way we've used the money designated for us in the fiscal year 25. So here's the adopted budget, expended, the revenue, and the result. And this is the fourth consecutive year that the library has finished within its budget. And with Bill as the director, this just become the expected norm for the Marion Public Library. And then here are the obligatory pie charts. These are expenditures in broad terms. Each of these three categories, obviously contains its own challenges and opportunities, and reflects a skilled, steady hand in the leadership areas. And then with the collections specifically, this next pie chart talks about the collection part of it specifically. These are the broad categories of physical items and downloadable items, and then other, which is like access to database, job placement tutoring or tutoring, academic tutoring, job placement, coaching, helping with develop the resume, all kinds of things that people don't necessarily leave with. That's in other. And that's a good look at the library. Thank you for your giving me the opportunity to share this. Do you have any questions then?
So that last slide, that was revenue? Like what's the breakdown of the revenue? Like where does that come from? Does that include like facilities rentals or where does the revenue come from?
Yes. Contrary to appearance, he knows a little bit more about it.
The revenue breakdown comes from meeting room rentals.
Yeah.
It comes from the recouping of materials for activities in our makerspace. Most of that extra revenue does come from the state and the county. So the library receives a reimbursement from the state of Iowa because of us serving other Iowa residents outside of Marion. So we get a small percentage for each circulation that we have. And we also get financial assistance for our interlibrary loan program through the state. So we get some revenue from the state. We get also a small portion of revenue from Lynn County for serving rural Lynn County residents. And one other piece of that revenue comes from a formal agreement that we have with the city of Robbins for their residents to use our library.
Well, that makes sense. I just know from being out in the region that our library is a preferred library in this entire region. And so it doesn't surprise me that people from outside of Marion are coming here and using it. So it's good to know that there's some sort of compensation for that.
Yes.
Good. Hey, questions? Go ahead, Sarah.
This is just more, back on the first slide where you talked about how many visitors, how do you gauge that? Because it seems like it could even be higher than that. I'm standing there in council office hours, even on a quiet morning, you see so many families coming in, and I don't know if that's adults or if you're counting all the family, the kids that come with them. So anyway, I just thought that looked low. Curious how you count it.
So our security gates have a counting feature. Anytime someone goes through the gate one way or the other, so we have a total number and we divide it in half for people coming in and going out. But we don't have the ability to look at that gate count data and determine male, female, age, and anything like that, unfortunately. We use our circulation statistics, the checkouts and things of that nature to make a more informed decision on who's using the library in that way.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bill, how is our virtual circulation through various apps, Libby, and I'm sure there's a couple of other apps. And do we benefit from that in terms of a revenue flow, or is that a cost?
So our digital circulation is strong in Marion. And one of the backstops to ensure that only our residents utilize that is the resources that we subscribe to are only available to those in city limits. So there's no revenue stream that comes from that. That is a cost to the library. So it's something we've had to carefully manage and monitor over the years.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Gage?
Yeah, in the last year, where did the savings come from?
Underspending the given budget
Were there
And-
like specific items?
and revenues higher than expected.
Sure, but were there specific expenses that came in under that made a majority of that number?
So one of the downsides of having a staff that is 75% part-time is some turnover associated with that, because our part-time staff seek out full-time jobs with benefits. So we do have underspending in our part-time salaries line, and we had a couple of full-time positions open as well. That's where the vast majority of that savings comes from.
Okay, thank you.
Steve?
So Bill, how big, since the library is right next to Vernon Middle School, how busy is the library once they get out of school? And does the library have design programs to assist them or to educate them, keep them busy? So what happens during that after-school time period?
So 10 minutes after 3, most days of the week, we usually have between 80 and 120 additional visitors from Vernon. So
Really?
we're quite busy. We do have specific programming in our team programming room that is catered towards them. We're in the process of developing makerspace, STEM programs for them as well. And we quickly learned when we first opened that because many of our younger residents hadn't had exposure to a library in a while, we had some behavioral issues. And we discovered very quickly that if we were able to provide some sustenance, some food for those kiddos, the behavior improves. So we have a very strong partnership with HACAP, where we feed the kids when they come in after school every day. So we do have programming, and we do have the ability to entertain them, if you will.
Yep, those are good numbers.
Since we opened the new facility, is there anything that surprised you or the rest of the team? Anything that's been a big surprise that's gone differently than we expected, or anything at all? Just curious.
I don't know if I can give more insight than you could, but one of the things is that it's a big facility.
Right.
There are how many points of access for the patrons?
7 points of public service.
Right, so there's like, whether it's a desk or point, so that was part of it. That was quite an increase from previous. So that was one of things. The overall people have been very pleased, and that has been not really surprising as much as I'll take that any day. But it has been very a very central part of the town and this area. Those are the two biggest things that impressed me. Surprises as far as negative, though, I think is what you're saying.
Oh, no, either way. Yeah.
Those are the two biggest things that
Yeah.
strike me.
So I appreciate you going first. You gave me time to think.
Okay, that was the idea.
Two of the things that have surprised me. The first thing is the extremely high demand for meeting room space in our community. We allow patrons to make a reservation for a room 3 months out, so that gives staff a time to plan their programs and ensure that space is available. But the minute that it's the first of the month, we've got a high demand for people looking for spaces that 3rd month out. So that's one of the things that surprised me. And kind of surprised me was Vernon. I didn't know what to expect from the kids across the way. I know that we intentionally were out in the community before our facility opened. We were talking in the schools, we were talking with parents, we were talking with teachers about the amenities that the library would have, but I wasn't certain if the kids would embrace that. And that middle school, high school age is one of the most difficult segments of the population to get to use a public library. So I'm very surprised and pleased by that utilization from that group.
Well, I think it's wonderful that we were in transitioning to the new building, we were able to maintain that ease of accessibility that people really loved about the old library, was they could just park and walk right in. It was very easy to utilize. And I think we've maintained that. And, even this week, I shared a comment with you from someone who just wanted to express what a positive experience they've had with the library and the staff. So congratulations and kudos to everybody. I think our library is, well, I make no secret of it. It's one of our points of pride as a community, and it's at the forefront of the services that we offer to give people great opportunities, and it's become such an essential place of access for so many different types of things, and especially learning of all types. It's truly a community center and a place of access, and we're just very proud of it. Just real quickly, I know you were here not very long ago talking to us about the mobile library. Any updates since you were here last?
Yes, as a matter of fact. I'll throw a couple numbers at you. In fiscal year 25, when we launched the bookmobile, we launched it mid-December. For the entire fiscal year 25, from December through the end of June, we had 150 new members of the new library card signups. That was mainly between March and June because we were a little bit slow the first couple of months of the launch. We've seen several more than that here in the first quarter of FY26. I don't have the exact number, but I do have numbers for the number of visitors and the number of items we've circulated. And based upon those trends, we are going to probably triple what we did in the first half of FY25. So really excited for that. The bookmobile has really started taking off. We have a number of partnership opportunities with retirement communities that we are actively talking to right now. So we are looking at expanding service as we continue the program, expanding the number of stops that we have every other week, as well as the number of days the rig is on the road.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything else to add? We really appreciate you coming in. Thanks to everyone from the team that came in. We value and appreciate everything you do to serve the community. Thank you for always making the extra effort to serve people and help them solve issues and achieve whatever goals they have. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is an update from the Marion Chamber on the LED screen for Central Plaza. We have Jill here from the chamber.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor and City Council. Just wanted to give a quick update. I know several of you were at our annual meeting when we announced that we had put this unit on order. It is and I have a video that I can send to you afterwards, but this is something that we're really excited about. It's been in our hotel motel application for the last couple of years as something that we've wanted to purchase, and we've been saving money for it. It is a LED, very large LED screen that comes mounted to a trailer. When it's folded in half, you can watch it from both sides. So you could essentially roll it in a parade, and viewers on both sides of the street could watch whatever you're showing on the screen. And then when you flip it up, it doubles in size. So when it's at full size, it's about 10 feet by 17 feet. It is made for outdoor viewing. So I don't know any of the technical terms. Terrell could probably answer some of those for you, but it is specifically made for outdoor viewing. So there's no issues with competing with sunlight. So it works during day or night. It can handle all the elements. It can operate in temperatures from -4 up to 178 degrees. And the size is about 23 by 8 by 6. So essentially when you're pulling it, it's like pulling a boat trailer. As soon as we receive it, it will be insured through Bauslug Insurance. And we were hoping to partner with the city on storage of it, but I do have a secondary option for storing it with a private facility if that's needed. The reason that we wanted to purchase this is that we were doing some events. It started in the Uptown Artway, doing some tailgating events, wanting to show games and things like that. But when you rent a screen like this, it can run anywhere from $3,800 upwards of $10,000 to rent the screen each time. So that put limits on how often we were able to do events with a screen like this. I think the possibilities are endless. Our hope is that we'll be able to show holiday movies up in the park when people are ice skating. I think it would be very on brand for us. I also see it being a real asset during events like fireworks and fireflies, when maybe the mayor is speaking, or maybe even larger ribbon cuttings. Maybe the mayor's speaking, people clearing back can't really see that well. So then you'll be able to project using a camera system onto this screen. You can do things like simulcasting different events, again, tailgating events. It will allow for better recognition of sponsors during special events. We've talked with the planning department, as long as it's during just singular events, it's not something that plays throughout the year or is not going to be, stationed at any one park. We will haul it out for specific events. Then it doesn't violate any code. Trying to think if I've missed anything. Do you have any? Oh, and there's also a hydraulic arm. So it can raise up 16 feet in the air. It's the kind of equipment that they have like down at Iowa football games when you see the big screens in the end zone. So we're very excited about it. I've got a partnership worked out with IMON to be able to, like, if we want to watch movies that are on their ABC Family channel, they run a lot of Christmas movies. We'd be able to use a Fire Stick and be able to show those movies. Or I've been working with Swank also, and they do movie rentals, commercial movie rentals. And I've got a deal to purchase or rent 8 to 10 of those during the winter months to be able to show up at the ice skating loop.
Questions for Jill? Steve?
So I'm assuming this has a rechargeable battery in the trailer there. So you plug it in, that recharges. How long does that charge
Well,
last?
I think we'll have to have power to it. So
Oh, hey,
it's not, well, actually, and there is a rechargeable.
there should be a
unit, too.
I would
Yeah.
think with new technology, there should be.
Yep, I would think.
You should be able to
Good
pull that
question,
down the
Steve.
street with.
Yeah, yep. Not sure on the recharging side of things. But what was your,
Well, is this something you're gonna look at trying to rent out to your members too?
no,
So that they could use it for their own events?
no, I don't
Or
think
you're looking
so.
at this more for citywide and or chamber events only?
I think it's chamber and city, just community events.
Community events then?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
so we ordered it through RGS Productions, Doug Johnson. He's been a partner of ours for a long time with Stage and Sound. And just because we have a long-standing relationship with him, he let us buy one of these. He was in the midst of buying 5 of these that he will be using for his business, along with his partner up in Waterloo. And he's been trying to get us to rent systems like this from him for a long time. And he said, if you want to buy one, we'll add you to our order and we'll give you our friends and family discount, which was 30%. So that saved us a lot of money. So the equipment, I mean, it's an expensive piece of equipment, and whoever has access to it's going to have to be trained. They say that it's a 15-minute setup. There's stabilizing legs that you can see on the diagram there. But it's kind of a couple clicks of a button, they say. I'm sure it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve while we learn the technology, but it's not something that we're going to be renting out.
And this has got to be, I think of all the years of the chamber, it's got to be one of the biggest single item investments the chamber's made in a
Yep.
large number of years. So the rationale or justification for doing this is to eliminate screen rental expense
Right,
on an annual basis, and this will replace that. So
that's right.
your income statement ought to look a little better. That
Yep.
you got this to replace it. That was the rationale.
Yep, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and it will enhance the events that we're currently having that we just can't afford to have a piece of equipment like this at our events. So, I mean, essentially, if we use it at 10 of our free community events and we would have been spending $5,000 at each one, plus the other little one-offs like the tailgating parties and things like that we've done in the Artway, I mean, we'll almost have it paid for in a year.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Gage?
So when we have it up in the plaza and we're talking about the ice skating and the movies on there, I see like from the diagram, like it says waterproof speakers, but weather-wise, like, is this something that can handle the elements? Is it like, what's our system? Like, do we leave it out there overnight? Where is it being, like, who's picking it up? Where is it, you know?
Yeah, we kind of talked through that, just because of the nature of the equipment. I don't think it'd be a good idea to keep it out there overnight. We'll have to remove it, fold it down. It comes with a cover, so, and we'll want to get it back to the storage facility.
Sarah?
This is Jill, and then kind of maybe to our staff too. I know you mentioned in the park, the activities, if the chamber's doing things or around the ice loop or events. I know we gave hotel motel tax to this, right? I think we had been discussing that purchase that we've been waiting for it for a little bit.
Yep.
And finally able to do it. So is this something that we anticipate helping the city with? Is this something the city could be using instead of renting our own? Do we anticipate that being part of our program or not? The movies in the park or?
Yeah, there's some events that we would definitely be using this. Movies in the park, fireworks and fireflies, those types of events. There might be some events that we would still utilize rentals for, just with the amphitheater space. Typically, we don't roll things into our bowl area, but this is definitely something that would definitely used in some of our current events and programs.
I'm just looking at our own budget, if there's ways in the partnership to be saving on that. Also then, I guess my question is, if that's the case, and if it's being used at events in the parks, are we able to help store this or put this in one of our facilities so the chamber isn't, if we have to get it, I'm thinking if we're using it, that means we have to go, Jill, then we have to figure out where they're putting it and then we have to go pick it up and then come back. Or are there issues or liabilities with that?
Do you want me to answer? Okay. That is something that we are in the midst of discussing. We haven't finalized that. There are certainly some concerns with, we have looked at that potential of Public Works, but there's quite a bit of dust that is in there. So there's some challenges that I think may affect this piece of equipment. So we want to make sure that we explore that before we say yes to that opportunity, because that's the one thing that we wouldn't want to damage this piece of equipment in any way, not intentionally by any means, but
Come with a cover, like a dust cover, I think
It
about.
does, and all of the mechanicals, like the electronics part of it are in a cabinet, so it's so tiny, you can't even read it, but there's a whole, on that base, there's a control cabinet and a door that lifts up that has all of the electronic components.
Okay. All right, thank you. I would encourage us as the city, since this could be of great use to us, and I think we probably haven't even tapped into the things that we could be using it for yet. I don't know if the library's got use for things if they're doing outdoor programming. I don't know if the city, I just feel like this is a community asset that we could really be sharing.
Sunrise yoga.
Sunrise yoga, we could probably set up there. Yeah, actually, not a bad idea. But so if there's a way to find a place that could be, that we could help out, I think it would be a good thing for all of us.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a discussion on the fiscal year 26-27 budget. the CIP. Oh. Brian,
Good
welcome.
afternoon, Mayor and Council. This is our first touch point in the CIP, so the Capital Improvement Program for the fiscal year 27 budget process. So this covers fiscal year 27 through fiscal year 31. So this process hopefully should look very familiar now. We've kind of standardized the process over the last few years, had multiple touch points with the council along the way. So tonight, we are presenting the staff's recommendation, seeing if you have any initial questions that we can answer. And then there'll be like 4 weeks-ish to kind of dig in, digest the information, and then we'll have a discussion on the second council meeting in December. So the timeline here, after that meeting in December, so finance will then work with the department heads, with DA Davidson, with modeling debt service as we work towards the budget work session in January, and then work towards adoption in March and April. So other chances to certainly weigh in before then. So some key points there this year. Every year when we do this process, there's inflation, there's projects, like timelines that might move. So those are identified in your packet under the current adopted CIP updates, which comes in over the 6-year timeframe, just under 5 million. And so then these newly funded projects that the staff is recommending would be layered on to the existing CIP. What's different for this year is that staff is actually recommending not to bond this upcoming spring for the fiscal year 27 projects. So with the aquatic center pool project, that's obviously remains an important consideration for the future. We want to be responsible stewards, obviously, of the taxpayer dollars. We believe that this is kind of a prudent year to forgo new bonding. So by doing that, we can kind of focus on maintaining our existing infrastructure and then just preserving that kind of flexibility for our future priorities. So, and again, stressing no action needed at this meeting, as there'll be a couple of touch points in the future. So we asked DA Davidson to just kind of model out. So when we talk about no bonding, okay, kind of first look, what does that look like for our debt service projections? So I know that the chart is kind of small to see. So, but the blue bars are our current GEO outstanding debt. And then the green that's layered on top would be the planned GEO issuances. Sorry, I skipped one slide. I'll go back to scenario 1. So the green bars on top there are planned future GEO borrowings layered on top. So you can see that fiscal year 27, there is no green because this scenario includes not bonding for 27. So in this scenario with no bonding, you can see that it stays kind of level there. And then I'll just kind of do a comparison. You can see that kind of jump if we did bond our kind of usual $5 million for fiscal year 27. So just wanted to give that visual of the debt service levy without bonding and then with. And then there's one kind of line which I just kind of thought about earlier today. So this shows the projected debt capacity. That orange line is our legal limit that we can borrow. So that's, you can see in fiscal year 26, that's kind of about 250 million. We do have a self-imposed debt limit, which is 50% of that. So if you kind of take that line down somewhere between the kind of 100 and the 150, moving up at the same slope, that would be our self-imposed limit. But you can see under either scenario, we are well under both of those limits. So then moving on to the projects, we've done the same as we've done at the past few years. So we've come up with these staff recommendations. So this is staff collaboration that we have prioritized what we're recommending for this upcoming CIP cycle. All of the project sheets are in your packet. These projects that we're recommending are included in your draft CIP. You should see them also highlighted in green. The kind of theme that you'll see if you're looking across here is preserving and maintaining our existing assets. That's the kind of theme that we're going for here, as well as some construction led by development in a couple of areas. So I'll just go on to the next slide before we kind of pause for questions. Then this is kind of our put the council hat on. If there was any other projects, what's the council's appetite? This is our kind of up for consideration that the staff would prioritize next. And then also in front of you and in the packet, there is the list of the projects that we're not recommending to move forward for funding at this time. So the one I'll just kind of point out here is Indian Creek improvements. There was, if you recall, Site 7 on the CIP last year. Just Seth can maybe speak more to this. Our recommendation is to take this back to the steering committee, reprioritize where the sites that we see can get the best impact. If Seth wants
Yeah,
to just-
and we'll be coming back to council in December as far as that reprioritization.
So if I skip back to the staff recommendations, this gives council an initial chance. We're always available for questions in the next 4 weeks as well. And that goes for finance and the department heads. But I wanted to give this chance for the public to see and for council to ask any initial questions of staff when they're looking at this list.
Start with Gage.
Yeah, thanks for this presentation, Brian. Overall, yeah, I agree with just the direction. I know there's no direction from council tonight on this, but we've done so many new big projects last few years that, you know, I like the approach of maintain, repair. It's very infrastructure focused, which I really appreciate. When we talk about the $4.5 million capacity that was in the memo, I'm guessing that number is tied to the local share, not the total cost, right? Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the local share that we would typically either have geo bond capacity or local option sales tax.
Then is that capacity like more without bonding? Is that capacity more vulnerable or sensitive to like economic conditions, or does the bonding make that more vulnerable and sensitive? And that's why I guess I'm trying to understand that a little deeper. Maybe too deep. I don't know.
Yeah, so that $4.5 million is if we do not bond. It's, I guess, can you repeat the question? I'm not sure if I quite.
I just was wondering, is the reason to bond or not to bond to like adjust, like, is that capacity, is the sensitivity or vulnerability of that capacity tied to the bonding? Like in regards to like current economic conditions or like what we project economic conditions will be going into next year? Does that make sense?
Yeah, not necessarily. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's, I mean, we've just done the analysis now. We figured out that, okay, this is the year with the timing of some of the projects that were plugged in before for this upcoming year. They shifted a couple of years. We identified another couple of funding sources. So that's one of our reasons. I'll let Ryan talk if you any more on that, but
Yeah.
not necessarily tied.
Thanks. Just really quick. I mean, we've had a lot of big projects that have come up, building projects over the years. But the other thing is, I mean, when we're going through this, I mean, it's the whole point of the zero-based budgeting and the way we do our budget and our analysis is our job is to make sure we're being as fiscally responsible as possible. So we wanted to, certainly the conversation about the aquatic center was a big topic of discussion, and certainly council talked a lot about debt and the hitting our debt limit. And one of the things that we talked about as a team is, that is our responsibility, is be as responsible as possible. So if there's ways we can look at this, phase it out, what is our capacity, what not, what makes sense, what have we heard, our plans certainly help inform a lot of our projects. So we're at a point with this budget where we're able to present something where we wouldn't have to.
Sure.
Steve.
So let me clarify that $4.5 million capacity in a maybe different way than what Gage was doing. So I don't think we need to spend any more money than we think is absolutely required. So I'm not trying to encourage city council to spend another $4.5 million just because we have capacity. But my question is, if we decided that there's some other projects we think have a high priority and we want to spend another $4.5 million, is that going to result in more geo bonding? Yes or no?
Not for fiscal year 27, no.
But we could go another $4.5 million, not using any geo bonding for this year or for fiscal year 27.
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure it's clear on that. Again, I'm not intending to spend it unless we don't have to, okay? Because I think we're finally, this year, I think we're taking a little breather in this CIP compared to where we've been, for the last 4 or 5 years. So from that standpoint, if I look at the big line items, I mean, you got Elbernet Road, you got Tower Terrace. I mean, there's a lot of sewer projects and things like that in there. So I haven't looked at it in depth. So I always enjoy going through the CIP in detail. The only one suggestion I'll have is that as people look at it is on the one line item, which is line item number 5, where it says HMA program. I probably recommend it. I did get some feedback. It looks like we have now moved those dollars down into the pavement management program.
That is the recommendation by engineering. Yep.
That's fine, but I would probably eliminate the HMA program line and just move that $1 million down for fiscal year 26. Because if somebody looks at that, it makes it look like we are not doing our HMA program anymore. It looks like
Yeah, it's.
nobody reading that would know that that has moved down below.
I would probably just say because we've already done our HMA program for fiscal year 26, so it was still classed as HMA program. So that's why we still had it under fiscal year 26 because we're in that year right now. But
We got your point moving
I could
forward.
certainly,
Yeah, I think
but
it's,
moving forward, it is,
yeah,
and it will drop off.
yeah, I understand that. Okay, I just want people to maybe you ought to put a note there saying for future years,
Okay.
it's down in the payment management program. I don't want somebody from the public reading that and make it look like we are dropping our $1 million HMA program.
I will put an asterisk there.
Yeah, something to at least, when I first looked at it, I go, where's those $1 million? It's been there every year.
That's a
So,
good suggestion. Thank you.
point of clarification. I haven't looked at it in detail. That jumped out at me, but
Thank
look
you.
forward to it. Thanks.
Good point. Anyone else? Go ahead. Great.
So Brian, I'm back to the staff recommendations sheet that you've provided us. So everything in green is a net additional project that would go into our multi-year matrix, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they're highlighted. The tan highlighted and gray highlighted ones are not represented anywhere in our overall multi-year spreadsheet.
Correct.
Okay. If we, through review of the individual project sheets that are in at least the 332-page staff memo, which I appreciate, by the way, don't print it out for me. If we were then to increase the priority of one of the lesser rated projects, does that begin to challenge us about not bonding for this next FY?
Potentially.
Okay,
So that's something that if council comes back in December and does identify any projects that they want to consider us, then we would go back and we would analyze, we would look at the funding and see, depending on the fiscal years, and we would have to come back with a recommendation.
yeah. Sitting next to Steve, I'm not inclined to do that. I just wanted to know what the net effect will be is if we give strong consideration to something that's got a lower priority, what we then might have to consider. Okay, thanks.
Can you talk about Lau Park Drive? Is that
Yeah, so the Lau Park Drive and the Art Pond development is in correlation with it's the Lau Preserve development. Was the Lau family farm, and so it's an extra connection for that development that is needed from a safety perspective.
but the projects are in the park?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're not, that's what I want to clarify.
Yeah.
It's not in the development, it's in the park.
It's through the park, yes.
Okay,
Yes, just for clarification, the drive is our half of the street.
It's half of the street and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
right.
So that's what that is. It's our half of
The
the street
portion that's
that
in the
is
park though.
on the side, along the side of the park. Yes.
Okay.
And then the art pond is the detention, essentially a detention basin that we would have as a park, as a pond.
Okay. And that'll be a wet pond?
Correct.
Yep. Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Greg.
This one comes out of the staff considered list, and maybe Mike can shed some light on this. Indian Creek Road and Wallace Street improvements. Is that realignment of Vaughn Drive, Indian Creek Road, et cetera, that whole scheme that's, okay. Is there any, just on that one, is there any preferred time frame that we would ultimately tackle that one? Is it 3 years out when it will bubble to the surface, or just what drives it to the top of the list?
I don't know if there's a single driver. Obviously, when we take Wallace Road north of Tower Terrace out, that won't happen until Tower Terrace Bridge is built. So it's just a matter of when do we feel that's a priority to make those modifications.
All right. Okay, so TBD, I guess, is, okay, thanks.
Any other questions? What about the traffic signal program? Can you explain
So
that?
that's all our traffic signals that we have. Whether it's upgrading cameras, some of them are so old that they're getting to the point that they might be structurally deficient. So some of the old ones would be like Marion Boulevard and Blair's Ferry Road is a very old signal. Blair's Ferry and Lindale is a very old signal. So some of those eventually we would have to replace those. And so whether that's small things like if we do an HMA overlay on Marion Boulevard, we need to upgrade the signals then for the pedestrian buttons to make them ADA. So even small changes like that, when we do a project, we have to bring it all up to current standards.
So that's not being recommended for prioritization by staff, or?
So it's at 300,000 annually.
Okay.
But when we look at the total projects, that's where we have to, spread the wealth.
Okay, so it could be a point of consideration to increase it, is what you're saying, increase the funds. Okay. Just so everybody's clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, just one more, again, I'm not trying to get into too many details here, but I want to make sure I understand the Indian Creek improvements. I know you talked about that in the very beginning, but so we have one Indian Creek site already in the CIP. So is this adding a second site in there? Because and then to be determined. So I mean, usually each of those sites are quite a few dollars. So I don't know what to expect from that.
So, and the team can jump in and correct me if I misspeak. We had one programmed due to a sewer project, which is going to impact the one that was originally planned. So what we've talked about as a team is, let's keep it in there, go back to Creekside Pride, take a look at the other sites that fit that dollar amount, so we can come back to council and say, here's an option to plug it in. Because we have this other priority, the sewer project is really the higher priority, so we don't want to have an impact to something that we had planned already.
So we're going to keep one Indian Creek Pride site in there, so the dollars may actually be plus or minus dependent upon what site they pick.
What we were going for was, we've got a couple projects that could be at or below what was programmed.
Okay. Okay.
Team, am I saying that correctly?
So right now, there's no dollars plugged in, just so you know that this is not currently in the CIP, any dollars. It's TBD. It was in there, but there's nothing. So if council did choose to, based on the prioritization, come back and add something, then that would be added in as that capacity.
Okay, so we've had an increased site in there before.
Site 7.
So I've not looked at the detail yet. I've gone through it once. So right now, there's nothing in there this year.
For this year for Site 7, I mean, we still
Well,
have.
this year we do have Site
Site-
1 that
Site
we're
one.
gonna be bidding out in construction.
Okay,
Site 7 was called out for
Okay.
FY '27.
okay, I got it. Thank you.
And that's why it's remaining in the yellow for the council. Staff's putting our council hat on saying, these are the things we knew were priorities. So that's why it's in that list.
Okay, Will?
So there's $0 for Site 7 in there. Wasn't it at like 1.7 or 1.4 million?
It was 1.9.
1.9, okay. So that's what it was at, 1.9 for Site 7. And I think that was the most expensive site.
Is like the third, yeah.
Okay.
Third most expensive
Thanks.
out of 9.
Hey, Grant?
Yeah, can we back up to the slide that shows the legal limit? This is more just me thinking about a recommendation. When we present information like this and we're concerned about the debt limit, I think we ought to also emboss our self-imposed limit on this same diagram. Now, there may be some reasons why we don't, but I think that tells a satisfying story that the state says we can do X, we're doing something way less than X, and we're managing aggressively to what we self-impose on ourselves. So if that makes some sense, I'd like to see that done universally in all of our materials.
Yeah, I did see that this morning. Yeah, it's kind of, it would be that 50%, but I kind of missed that, but we will include that in the
Yeah,
future.
Thanks.
Good idea.
Anyone else? Okay, good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a discussion on the food drive matter. So, Jamie, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on our recent community food drive. Food insecurity quickly became a growing concern across our community as we've seen an increase in demand at our local food pantries. Today, I'll walk you through what we're seeing locally, our recent efforts to address the issue, and some considerations moving forward. On October 28th, the Marion Fire Department participated in a quarterly meeting with Lynn Area Partners in Disaster. LAP-8 is a coalition of organizations dedicated to building a better prepared and more resilient Lynn County, and the fire department is an active member. During that meeting, HACAP raised concerns about the growing risk of food insecurity. The following day, on October 29th, the community risk was discussed internally within our department and the executive leadership team, and a food drive was recommended as a way to respond to this need. By October 30th, we began collaborating directly with HACAP to organize the food drive. The city issued a media release on October 31st, and the campaign officially launched on November 3rd. Our first delivery to HACAP took place on November 10th and was a total of 1.5 pallets. As this timeline shows, through the utilization of our emergency operations plan and strong collaboration with partners like HACAP, we were able to establish and launch this donation drive quickly in order to support the potential growing need. To put the scale of need into perspective, 3 food pantries in Marion have already made more than 42,000 food distributions this year. A distribution refers to one visit where a person receives food. So if someone comes multiple times within a week, that would count as separate distributions. Across the region, HACAP reports that demand for food assistance has risen by as much as 70% for some pantries. The chart shows how many households and individuals were served by the Well, the 29th Street Mission, and the Churches of Marion during September and October. In September, these pantries assisted 577 households. This included 1,882 individuals and provided 5,978 distributions. By October, that number had increased to 6,248 distributions, highlighting the growing need in our community. Based on the council discussion on November 6th, we're recommending two options for city council to consider. Option one is to provide a one-time monetary donation to HACAP. This contribution would support 4 food pantries in Marion that operate in partnership with HACAP. Option two is to make direct donations to 5 identified food pantries within the community. This approach would allow the city to provide targeted assistance based on each pantry's unique needs. This option includes the 4 pantries supported through HACAP, as well as the addition of the pantry located at Linn-Mar Community School District, who does not have a partnership with HACAP. Through either option, the city has an opportunity to make a meaningful and immediate impact to local food insecurity. This chart illustrates the monetary donations made to HACAP by both the city of Cedar Rapids and Lynn County, showing each community's contribution in terms of dollars per capita. You'll see 3 potential recommendations based on the range previously identified as interest by council for the city of Marion and how each would compare in per capita support. The team is recommending a donation of $10,000 for your consideration for either of these options. At this time, I can try to answer any questions for you, and we will be prepared to action whatever you suggest.
Thank you for doing all that background work and presenting us with the options. So anyone have questions or thoughts? Are you looking for a consensus this evening on what direction to take? Okay, so the recommendations are, or you're recommending 10,000, but the options are what, 10, 15, and 20? Is that? Okay. But you're recommending the 10,000. Okay. Go ahead.
So can we go back to the timeline? Maybe I was thinking about a different timeline. Thus far, it's only been recently that SNAP funding has been unavailable to support communities. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, but the data that we have when SNAP funding is available is still seeing an increasing trend of necessary support.
Yeah, so we don't have the November stats yet from HACAP, but I talked to them this morning and they have not seen a decline yet. And they really don't know what will happen because they did have a lot of families utilize these pantries for the first time, and they may continue to utilize them going forward.
Okay, I guess what I'm trying to draw a conclusion on is that whether SNAP is available or not,
So
is there still a need, an increasing need?
correct.
Yeah, okay.
But SNAP is available. I think the state released a statement last week that it was available on Friday.
Sure, okay.
Yeah. I guess just in terms of where to send it, where to donate the money, my preference would be in Marion to the agencies you pointed out, rather than directly to HACAP. But we'll go with Stephen.
Yeah, I think our discussion 2 weeks ago was we're talking about the $1 million grant available from the state on a matching basis.
Mhm.
So is it my understanding correct that $1 million is all used up now?
Yes, it has been matched and it has been
All used up?
sent. Yep.
So that would have been the rationale to go with option number 1. If we can contribute 10,000 to HACAP and still anticipate a lot of people from Marion can use it and capitalize on that. So since that match is not part of the equation, I would agree with the mayor and support option 2 at $10,000.
Okay. Anyone have a different opinion than that, just so we can keep things moving? Go ahead.
Slightly, I guess. I mean, I agree with the option 2. If I could just take a couple minutes to talk about kind of my process, taking the individuals served at each churches, and then I was in conversation with both the school districts recently. I would be supportive of allocating $15,000 in total. The cost per capita with Lynn County kind of validates my feeling on that a little bit more than it already was. But so I kind of tiered it by individuals served, and then kind of tried to, it was hard to get as close to a percentage that felt like the impact was there. But to me, I had the well at 6,000, 29th at 3,000, Churches of Marion Pantry at 3,000, and then MISD and Linn-Mar at 1,500 each. And the But talking with the schools, it's kind of a more complicated issue. The other church food pantries are very like straightforward. Like we give them the money, they have one program, it is the pantry. But with the schools, I would also just kind of advocate for us to give the schools money toward food insecurity. And if the pantry is the best option for that school district, I think that's great because each school district technically has multiple pantries, but they also have different programs, especially with winter break coming up, of kids who might not necessarily have meals. So I think the school districts and their staff and our staff working with their staff would be able to find what the best need for each school district is. But just for example, talking with folks at Linmar, they, between multiple food insecurity programs and their school pantry resources, they have more than 250 families that see need. And MISD has their main Starry pantry, but they also have another pantry at one of the elementaries. What's unique about MISD's program is it's not student exclusive. Anyone can sign up for that pantry program. So I got the data from them this week. In October, the Starry pantry served 81 individuals, but in November, as of today, they have already served over 200 individuals. So it's already more than doubled just in this month compared to the full month of October. What makes it more complicated with schools is, there's a larger, sometimes kind of forgotten problem that some students don't necessarily have the support at home to access some of these resources that we're talking about that, there's free and reduced lunch. There's other programs that students can sign up for, or their families sign up for them. But sometimes filling out certain forms, getting them back to the school is an obstacle for families. We have families that don't speak English or who are just not as diligent about communicating with the school necessarily because of whatever issues are going on at home. So then that responsibility, making sure that the students are fed during like a winter break, falls on the student. So this funding, I think it's justified going up to 15,000 so we can give a little bit more to the schools because this funding provides a little bit of a boost for those students who may not have a lot of options. And they're the ones that are stuck figuring out a lot of things on their own. So I'm okay with 15. And I'd like to see the schools just kind of get it generally for food insecurity and not necessarily, if the pantry is the best option for them, I could see MISD going that route, but Linmar could do something different based off their needs.
Other thoughts? Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, sorry, that's kind of long.
Okay, let's go Sarah and then Grant, okay?
Real quick, and I don't mean to sound harsh, because I work with our food pantry and our garden that provides to the food pantry all summer, and we beg for volunteers to come and help with that. And it's slim pickings to get people. So I'm for the donation. I'm for directly to the Marion locations, but as we keep kind of going down this path, and this seems to be, I don't know, I feel like this is getting to be a bigger issue, bigger situation that probably started. I mean, I think it came up because there was an issue with SNAP and there was an issue with families in need, and we started this. And now all of a sudden, we're running down into the lane of contributions from the city, which I know is important, but is also, I see as a lot of the counties, it has been a county role in the past, besides money. So I'm for it, but I kind of want to revisit how we got here. And I feel like we were in one spot when we were talking about it. Now we're in another. So now we're kind of concluding on the conversation that we had, even though it's kind of later in the game. We've missed the opportunity for match and all the things that were going on. And I do not discredit that there is a big need. We know it from the food pantry work that occurs. So I think I just want to put I almost feel like, I don't know, maybe it goes in a box, but like we don't have a fund for it. We're going to use hotel motel because we're reacting to something. It's almost like if we just as a city had the emergency fund, whatever crisis is upon us for that year, that there's some discretionary funding to help our local organizations, help our community. But I get that that's probably too tight of a recommendation. So I don't know that I care between 10,000 or 15,000. Colleagues, I'll put that with you. But I I guess we should probably have a budgeting discussion also going forward and people should be aware that we reacted to a situation and a community need that we were hearing. I believe we are going to continue to hear this need as our community grows. And what is our go forward role in financially contributing to the organizations, and coming from a nonprofit and understanding when I get my budget. And to us, it isn't a large sum of money based on our entire budget, but I know working for a nonprofit that these are nice big contributions that are going to significantly help your budget this year, and then next year you're going to have to figure out what to do with it. And are we going to be there?
Yeah.
Or are we not? So I get it. I'm all for it. I would like to go directly to the Marion communities, since it is directly from our hotel motel money. It's our hotel motel money, right? We're sticking with that as the funding.
Okay.
And Sarah, I can say a little bit about how we got here. So as a city, we do have an emergency operations plan that was developed. And within that plan, there's, processes around natural disasters and also human-made disasters. And one of the disasters that's called out in there is around supply chain or lack of food insecurity. And so when that was recognized within the LAP aid meeting of a potential risk coming forward with the shutdown, we utilized the process within the emergency operations plan and then partnered internally to sort of get the ball rolling on that. So it is a reaction, but it's a reaction based on a plan that's developed for the city.
Correct, but the shutdown doesn't exist anymore, but we're still catching up to that situation from before is what I'm hearing. Because I mean, I don't disagree that we are going to continue to have food access problems in our community for a number of, moving forward. This isn't a 1 year. I know it was regards to the shutdown. And I'm putting the food drive over here and the financial contribution over here. Food drive, we do them at the Y, we do them all over. I mean, this is a great time of year for the food drives. We see the need, and we heard it from our volunteer that was here. I'm just saying, from a budget or as we move forward, whether this is something we should consider or not, that we are participating in different types of community emergencies that occur each year. And whether there's a small amount that we just have set to the side for that.
So, sorry. Your point is noted. We will make sure we have that as a discussion point for the budget work session in January. Leanne and I were just talking here. The council does have the hotel motel grant program. Leanne was reminding me that that's for more tourism type activities. But if that is something that we wanted to council every year, you guys look at your policies. I mean, that might be an option if that is the consensus of the council. When we have it at the budget work session, that could be an amendment to a policy, again, if council chooses. But we'll make sure it's flagged as a discussion point to have some sort of designation.
Because we're going to have community crises coming up, and maybe there's we
Yep.
just are ready to go to that fund if needed. So to answer your question, Mayor, that's where I'm at, and I don't care between 10 and 15.
Okay. Grant.
Yeah, so I support the direct contribution to the Marion groups, given the fact that the state available funding has already been utilized. And it's useful to see this per capita information. I support $15,000.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
My question actually is for Gage. So I think I also, with the per capita, I see the 15,000 as the dollar amount that I would be in support of. But with your proposed doing 6,000 to the well.
Yeah.
Did you say that was based off of their
Serving amount.
Okay, that's okay. I didn't catch that when you're saying that. So I like your idea. I think I would be in favor of dividing it up the way you said.
Appreciate that.
Is there anyone who is opposed to 15,000 directly to the Marion organizations? Is there a consensus on that? I think we have our consensus.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks so much for all the work on this. Thanks. Okay, the next item would be Seth with an update on the depot tree carving in City Square Park.
Mayor and council, I'm just giving an update on the depot tree carving in City Square. As you noticed, that was recently removed last month. We noticed some early deterioration beginning at the base. And so we did a proactive measure on removing it, and we'll be doing some preservation efforts as part of that. What we saw with the improvements to City Square, a lot of the irrigation, we saw some rotting the base on the tree. Also, with it sitting on the southern side, we saw more sun exposure. What we plan on doing, we do have a preservation opportunity over the winter. In working with the carver, he suggested an Australian linseed oil for a preservation effort. And we'll also be removing the rotting material from it. We do have, we'll be working with Park Board and our council as far as a long-term placement plan. And then we'll be coming back to council as far as a site for the sculpture. These are, when we're talking to the carver, these do have a life expectancy of 10 years, depending on the wood. This was a hackberry that's there. This was done in 2022. So we're coming up to halfway. So we will have a 5-year follow-up just as it's coming up to that 10-year life expectancy, just to look at the conditions and come back to council and our council with that, the potential expectancy. So as far as next steps, we do have it removed. It's out at our urban forestry building. We'll be completing a restoration process in December. In January, we'll be talking to our council as far as identifying a final installation site, whether that's at City Square, Draper Park, or some of the early considerations. In February, we'll do council follow-up, and then in the spring, we'll have that site relocation. Something the carver did suggest is when we do put it on site is to do a concrete footing, so then we get the base off the ground so we don't have that future issue.
So you're saying in any case, it's going to have a limited life?
It will have a limited life, yes, for these carvings. So the one at Tabi is actually doing quite well. If you've been over here for the ribbon cutting, it's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it is, I mean, is displaying it indoors an option?
It is a possibility.
That extend the life?
It is. The difficulties with the indoors, and we'll work with our council, is it's 17 feet tall. And so it's limited as far as height. So would be a great option. So, but yeah, we'll definitely be looking at indoor and outdoor options for this piece. So
I mean, Draper Park would make sense if it had to be an outdoor space. It's the most logical. It'd be one more element of celebrating the railroad history out there. But yeah, we'll see what the consensus of the experts is. So
yeah.
Okay. Any questions on this, or this is just informational?
Just information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions for Seth? All right. Thanks, Seth.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next item, we have Mike Barcolo, pedestrian crossing of 6th Avenue near 11th Street.
Yes, Your Honor. So Google isn't quite caught up yet, but here is our ice loop that we have started making ice on. And so with the predicted increase of people coming to that area, and then from our library, and then whatever becomes of the old library lot, we're seeing a lot more pedestrians crossing 6th Avenue. So for a short-term solution, what we want to do is install a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, which is shown here on the left side. We have several within the city. We have leftover ones that were at Echo Hill and Albernet Road. So we have to order a new solar panel and a new battery, hoping that it's here December 4th or 5th. They're going to go ahead and get the bases poured so we can get this installed so that it would be useful this winter. And that way it just provides another location for the kiddos and others to cross 6th Avenue. In the future, we do have a CIP request in there to either install a hawk signal, which is similar to what's on South 11th, where it's more like a traffic signal. Or we could do a raised island, but that's future. This is just a temporary solution. Again, you have a signal at 10th that you could wait for the cross to change there. At 12th and 6th, we're gonna add the static crossing signs, so they won't flash or anything, but we'll at least have the signs. We're gonna install those. We have them at 13th already. And then 14th doesn't actually cross 6th. We cut that off. And then 15th has the roundabout. So just trying to add additional locations for pedestrians to cross the busy street.
Good idea. And it's at fairly minimal cost? I mean,
Yeah,
battery.
it's about $9,000 is what we're paying for the batteries and the new solar panel.
Wow.
Otherwise, we already had it in stock, the rest of the equipment,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Any questions? Go ahead, Sarah, and then Gage.
So, when we originally did the plan, this just got brought up to me at the Veterans Breakfast at Hy-Vee by somebody about crossing 6th and how crazy it's getting to be. And we're like, we know. When we went through all of the planning to kind of reroute down onto 6th and keep 7th as a festival street and, leave some of that, was there already established where the crossings should be then, since we're kind of using this as the busier road? Had we identified where we anticipated future crossings or not?
So in that Uptown Master Plan, if you recall, let me change the. So if you recall, it had a South Plaza.
Yeah.
And basically from the access to the library, this section of 11th would actually be closed, similar to what it is in the plaza and then north. And so that was one of the dedicated locations. So it's kind of setting it up for that future, but being a more temporary solution until we get to that point. We're ready to pull that trigger.
Okay, so originally we didn't put in like a plan of, we know that this is now we wanted it to be a through street, but at the same time, now we figured out we're kind of like on the south side of our through street and we need to get people to the north side of the through street. So we have a stoplight 1 block away and then nothing till we get up to that other apartment complex, correct? Until we get the other one in there?
We have the roundabout at 15th.
Yeah.
Both 12th and 13th will have just the static crossing signs. We did put a paddle in where it says, must yield per state law. That lasted 15 minutes. Turning traffic took it out. So.
Okay, so I know we absolutely have to do it. I'm just looking at it. I was thinking about this when I saw this on our agenda, because I keep thinking, I wish it wasn't a crosswalk, a block, a stoplight. I feel like we're going to get kind of this little congestion area in there, but I also understand that moving it down to like this intersection isn't going to work because people aren't going to walk to this side. They're just going to run across. So we're going to where the people are crossing anyway, even though it's kind of tight now in this little section. Okay. I guess I really didn't have that was my questions and not my comment. Oh my God, thank you.
Okay, Gage.
Similar question, slightly different angle, but earlier tonight we were talking about when our friends from the library were here, we were talking about all our friends from Vernon Middle School. I think about them as they go into Central Plaza. Obviously, they're either going to the library or they're going to Plaza after school. This is what we identified as like, will the students and the kids, will they be crossing at that side, or will they? I understand the construction of Broad and Main makes it kind of a unique challenge too. But is that the path that the students are taking, or will they be just on the other side, not care about that, the flashing lights, and just bolt anyways? I'm just trying. I know some of them will do that regardless.
Yeah.
But
I can tell you, even the ones that we have on, say, Grantwood Trail, where it crosses 44th and those major streets, some people don't push the button.
Sure.
So that doesn't do any good either. So the problem with putting it here is there's actually no sidewalk yet on this side of the street. So you only have sidewalk on the east side of 12th, which means they either have to cross up here at the stop sign,
they won't.
or they're darting across there. So I don't know if there's a perfect answer, but we're trying to give them another.
I guess my question is, is there a reason why it's not the other corner with the library in Broad and Main?
Yeah, so this is the construction area, so you can
Right.
kind of see that, so that's.
So that will
closed.
all be closed off?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're giving them room to build their stuff
Fair
until we
enough.
can
That's
do
what I
it
was
more
wondering.
permanent. And it could be maybe with the development agreement, when we figure out what's going in at the old library, that maybe as part of that development agreement, we have them make some improvements.
And really, this was a staff-generated item, because we've been watching the children run across and certainly, you know, during, the festive summertime, watching folks cross right there. So as Mike said, this is a temporary item. We wanted to, because they're not walking over to the signalized intersection. So we want to make sure that we're accommodating it and providing that peace of mind, trying to also kind of train the behavior a little bit. But knowing that the future of that old library site is kind of coming to a clearer vision, and that will help us understand better the timing of the South Plaza.
So this is just informational again?
Yep.
And as far as where the funds are coming from, is it, I mean, what fund is it coming
It's
from?
just coming out of our traffic signal funds.
Just,
Yeah, like I said, it's only 9 to 10 grand, so we already had most of the components there, so.
yeah, okay.
Just a quick follow-up to that, and I know, again, the summary of that is that a lot of times preteens and teens are gonna do what they want anyways, but if we could communicate to the schools, once like this is available, for them to be like, hey, if any students from Vernon are going to the library or the park after school, please, you know, we have this now. They're gonna do what they want, but it'd be good to just have the communication. Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Okay, anything else, Mike?
Yep.
Thank you. Next item is the review of the upcoming agenda for Thursday. We'll go through the marked items first on the second page of the agenda, A11, Leanne.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just marked this one for discussion because I wanted to point out a new reporting requirement required by House File 718. So as part of the annual financial report, there is more detail in the long-term debt schedule. And I just wanted to call that out both for City Council and for the public. I realize the print on the screen is small. Please don't try to read it. I just wanted to point out it now has a rate range as well as the purpose of the debt and what projects are funded by the debt. So if anyone is interested, I know this is an annual report, something that you can view annually, but this year there is that new addition.
Questions for Leanne? Okay, you have the next one, Leanne.
Yes, Your Honor. This is a resolution setting date for development agreement with McGrath Automotive. This is for their renovation and expansion at the Volkswagen dealership out at 675 Blair's Ferry Road. The construction is anticipated to be completed by December 31st. We are offering a 5-year 75% rebate with a not to exceed of $70,000. They've agreed to a minimum assessment agreement of 2.2 million for that 5 years. And then also as part of the agreement, we are including a landscape and building plan requirement. Any questions?
Okay, doesn't look like there's any questions. We'll move on to the next item, which is Nicole under community development.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So we have a central corridor review in front of us here tonight for 243 7th Avenue. It's down there kind of right as you come around that bend on 7th Avenue underneath our Gateway Bridge there. It's Master Auto Repair. They're looking to add a third overhead door on their elevation because of the zoning district of urban transition commercial. They are required to go through this central corridor review process. So the use is a motor vehicle repair service that is a legal non-conforming use for this zoning district. However, they are not increasing the intensity of the use. The service bay that they are performing the work is already in existence. And what they are wanting to do, as you can see on the screen here in the red box, is add that third overhead door. So behind that space, they're already using that as that shop space. So they're not increasing that shop space into a storage room. So that's why they were allowed to go forward with the corridor review process. So currently they have 2 overhead doors. Both of them are 12 by 12. The one that they're looking to add is a 9 by 10. So it's a little smaller than the 2 existing. They are planning to have it painted a dark brown that's matching those other 2 overhead doors. In the future, they did say once the 7th Avenue kind of reconstruction where 2nd Avenue will become Alburnett Road is kind of done, they'll kind of repaint the building, depending on how they do facade improvements on that. That might come back before you to review as well, but if they stick to their similar brown tone colors, they would just kind of do the refresh of that. The zoning board, the Planning and Zoning Commission at their last meeting, it did recommend approval for this. Questions of staff?
Questions for Nicole? I don't see any. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, now, any questions on any other item on the agenda? Okay, I don't see any. With that, we will conclude our meeting and we'll see you all on Thursday. Thank you.